Chapter number 5, the legislature. We are going to discuss about the legislature. In this discussion, we will talk about what is legislature. We will talk about the Sansad, that is the parliament, and the Vidhan Sabha and Vidhan Parishad. So the Vidhan Mandal we call them, Vidhan Mandal. Parliament is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The Vidhan Mandal is Vidhan Sabha and Vidhan Parishad. So what is the importance of these legislatures? The function and the power of the Parliament of India. The law making procedure, how a law is made, and how the Parliament is controlling the executive. How the Parliament regulate itself. Parliament is regulating the executive, and it is also regulating itself. How does it happen? First question is, why we need a parliament? Why do we need a Lok Sabha or a Rajya Sabha? Why do we need it? First of all, legislature, where the laws are made, where the rules regulation for the country is made, is not only the law making body. We have seen in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. First, let me tell you about this Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So this is our parliament. It is divided into two houses, the lower house and the upper house. The lower house is Lok Sabha. The upper house is Rajya Sabha. The lower house, it is directly elected by people like you and me. Rajya Sabha is elected by the MLAs of the state. Now when we elect them directly or indirectly, these Sansads, they are responsible for making our country run. That is, in Lok Sabha, say there is a majority of one party, and this party has majority, say Lok Sabha has 543 seats, actually it has 545, 2 for the Anglo-Indians. So 543 seats are there. Any party which gets more than 284, they will form a government like this. If you see this is the government. So government is consisting of Prime Minister, you see here. Right now we have Narendra Modi, and along with these councils of minister, he is the Home Minister, he is the Defense Minister, like this. So Council of Ministers. This PM and Council of Minister, they come from this part. So Lok Sabha has a majority, and this part is Council of Minister, means they come from the majority party. Other members which are not in the majority, they are called as in the opposition, and they are also Sansad, they are also the people representative. So this is how the formation is. So legislature is not only making the law. So opposition can do what? If the government is not doing their work properly, they can do walkouts, they can protest against the policies of this government, they can put some demonstration, unanimity, concern, cooperation. If something comes, some other country is there, or our Dushman country is there, so all of them, they combine together. They have different vichardharas, they have different thoughts, they are in opposition, they are in Paksh and Vipaksh, but when it comes to the country, they all get together. So there is a cooperation also. They concern about, everyone has a concern about the destitute, the poor, the women, etc. So we have this Council of Minister, and this Council of Minister again is divided into the cabinet ministers and other ministers like the Minister of States, etc. So these cabinet ministers are the Council of Ministers. Basically, Council of Ministers are all the ministers, and the special ministers, say 15 to 20 ministers, these are in the Prime Minister's cabinet. So what happens in India? The cabinet, which are the special ministers with having a very heavy portfolios, this cabinet initiates the policies, They set the agenda for the government and they carry it through. And this has led to some criticism also, that when this Council of Ministers and Prime Minister, they are only responsible, they only do everything, what is the use of all these Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha members? So there is a criticism always. But even very strong cabinets, these people, they are considered to be the strongest among us. But still, they have to come to the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and they have to, if they want to pass any bill, make it as a Qanun, then a strong leader like him, he has also to face the Parliament. And Parliament is not only his Rajnitik Dal or his party. It is everyone who is being elected by the people of this country. So every strong Council of Ministers, every strong Prime Minister, they have to satisfy this Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha so that they can do certain things. I'll give you an example how it happens. I'll just give you a very short glimpse that on 20th February 2002, Union Finance Minister, at that time Jaswant Singh, he announced that there will be a 5% increase in the prices and on the fertilizers, on the various eatables, etc. But this was very high and the opposition opposed, and finally the finance minister had to roll back the increase in fertilizer prices because there was an intense opposition pressure. So you can say that why we require a parliament, because you can just have a prime minister and council of ministers, they will run the country. No, there are people in this parliament who are our representative, and they will oppose. If anything government wants to do which is not in the interest of the people, the opposition will oppose. As you see in this example, that price increment was ultimately being rolled back. So these are certain examples here, how this opposition and the parliament oppose things, criticized, and that's how government has to change its course. Then now the question comes is, you must ask me a question. Why do we have then two houses? One house is enough. See, first of all, the parliament is a national legislature. So we have in a parliament the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Now Lok Sabha is all the members here are elected by us, direct election. Rajya Sabha is representing the states. There are different states, diverse state, different culture, different language, different religion, different geographical situations, different economic situations. Now this Rajya Sabha is for the states. Lok Sabha is for the central, for the say federal. It's looking as a federal structure. So these two combined are called the parliament. So the parliament in India has two houses, the two houses of legislature, and when we have two houses of legislature, then we call it as a bicameral legislature. Okay, when we have two houses, then we have bicameral legislatures. So the two houses of Indian Parliament is the Rajya Sabha, we also call it as Council of States. Council of States. Rajya Sabha is also called as Council of States, and the Lok Sabha, which is also called as House of People. House of People. Now the Constitution has given the states option that we have around 28 states now. So all the 28 states, the Constitution has given them freedom that they can have either a unicameral or bicameral legislature. So we have certain states which have bicameral legislature. I'll just tell you the names of them. See, we have Bihar, Jammu Kashmir, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh. Now Jammu and Kashmir in 2009, now this is now a state. It's a union territory because it has been divided into Ladakh and Jammu and Kashmir Union Territory. So we don't know up till now because the lockdown is still on. We'll talk about the other place which is the Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So how many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. These are the 6 latest I am talking about. latest we have 6 states which has bicameral legislature. That means in these states, I'm talking about a state parliament, you can understand. We call it as a Mantri, this Vidhan Mandal. So here in states, if it is bicameral, we have Vidhan Sabha. This is again the Vidhayaks which are elected by the people, and then we have Vidhan Parishad. Vidhan Sabha and Vidhan Parishad, they do both combined and they are called as Vidhan Mandal. So these are bicameral, and right now as I'm speaking, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 states which have this bicameral kind of legislature. And our country is very big. We have a lot of diversity. So that is why we need 2 houses. Because we need to have all the representation of each society and the representation of state also. We need to have the representation of state, riyasate, province, also the representation of everyone as a whole, as a country. So country, Lok Sabha, state, Rajya Sabha. Now there is one more advantage. What happens if the Lok Sabha comes with a bill and Lok Sabha passes a bill and it is made as a law? This is, maybe they may be in hurry or some things are overlooked. Every bill has, when it is passed from Lok Sabha, it has, apart from money bill, it has to go to the Rajya Sabha. Now Rajya Sabha, because it is looking at the perspective or by the perspective of the states. Now this bill will be again seen keenly with respect to the states. And now this bill, if any anomaly is there, any contradiction is there, any problem is there, the suggestion may be given, the amendments can be, they can be suggested. So now reconsideration is done. So it is possible to have a reconsideration. Every decision taken by one house goes to this decision, to the other house for the decision. This is the second advantage. First advantage is the proper representation of everyone as a federal and as a provincial, that is as a state. And then we have the dual consideration of every bill, so that any lacuna, any anomaly, anything which is not being seen by Lok Sabha can be cached or amended or changed by the Rajya Sabha. Coming to Rajya Sabha. Now the Rajya Sabha represent, as I said earlier, Rajya Sabha is representing the state. That is why we call it as the Council of States. Rajya Sabha is Council of States. The elected member of State Legislative Assembly elect the members of Rajya Sabha. So Rajya Sabha, you and me are not involved. You and me don't vote. The MLAs, the MLA of a state will elect the Rajya Sabha members. I'll give you an idea. So we have 245 seats right now, and it can go maximum up to 250, not more than that. So every state, depending upon its population, it has been assigned how many Rajya Sabha members will go. For example, from Uttar Pradesh, 31 Rajya Sabha member will go to the Rajya Sabha, that is to the house of this state assembly, you can say. State assembly people, they elect them. Now I'll just give an example of, say, Sikkim. Now it's a very small state, maybe 5-6 lakh of population. Only one member goes from Sikkim or Tripura to the Rajya Sabha. So the region which have the larger population, they have more seats in the Rajya Sabha, and those which have lesser one, they have less numbers in the Rajya Sabha, as I just showed you in that list. USA, United States of America, they have equal representation. What does it mean? A state 1, state 2. Now state 1 and state 2, they have different population, and state 1 population is way higher than state 2 population. But still, in United States of America, the Senate, which is equivalent to the Rajya Sabha in our country, so they have a Senate. In this Senate, this state will also be sending one member, and this state will also be sending one member. So this is the condition of USA. But we cannot afford to have this in our country, because Uttar Pradesh having more than 21-22 crore population, and a Sikkim which is having say 6 or 7 lakh of population, we cannot afford to represent Uttar Pradesh with one and Sikkim with one. The more populous state, as I said, Uttar Pradesh is sending 31 members, and the smaller one like Sikkim is sending the Rajya Sabha member as one only. In Germany also we have bicameralism. So there are two houses which are called as Federal Assembly, that is Bundestag, and Federal Council, that is called as Bundesrat. Okay, I'll just give an example, one more. Now here it is an example, right now I have taken it from. So this is 2020. The Rajya Sabha member who are going to retire in April 2020. That means these members, these many members are going to retire. If you just count them, this will be 1/3 of 245. So what I'm trying to say is, Rajya Sabha, if there are 245 members, you can take 1/3 of this. This 1/3 member retires every 2 years. So every 2 years, 1/3 of this member will retire. So every 2 years, 1/3 member will be elected. That is, there will be Election Commission of India. In every 2 years, they will hold an election for this 1/3 member. So Rajya Sabha is always running. We will always have 2/3 members of that total strength. Always 2/3 will be there. So every 2 years, members of the Rajya Sabha, they are elected for 6 years. Every Rajya Sabha member is elected for 6 years. They can also get re-elected next time also. So every 2 years, 1/3 of the Rajya Sabha complete their term, and elections are held for those 1/3 seats only. 1/3 seats only. So Rajya Sabha is never fully dissolved. It will remain always. What is the faida? What is the advantage? The advantage is, see, first of all, that if the Lok Sabha has very short sessions like the monsoon session, winter session. It is not always running. Rajya Sabha work with the help of the committees they have. So when the Lok Sabha is not running, if we have a very important bill and that has to be passed by any way, Lok Sabha is not running. So what can be done? Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha is the place, or that is the house of the parliament, which is always running. Always it has members. So for any urgent business can be conducted in Rajya Sabha, which is always there working. And the State Legislative Assembly, the members of Lok Sabha, that is the MPs, and here we have the MLAs. They are elected by the people like us. And for the purpose of this election, the whole country is divided into different constituencies. That is, in the case of state, this portion of this boundary is known as State Legislative Assembly boundaries. And this is done, this partition is done with roughly equal population. For example, if this is a state and we have say 100 Vidhayaks or MLAs have to come, so this is divided into 100 different constituencies, and the population will be almost same. So this is and from one constituency area, only one person will be elected. That is, from the Lok Sabha assembly area, and one MP will be elected, and similarly from here. And one representative is elected, and this is through the universal adult suffrage. That is, in India, anyone who is 18 year and old, he or she can vote. At present in the Lok Sabha, we have 543 constituencies, and this number has not changed since 1971. The Lok Sabha, the members of the Lok Sabha or the Lok Sabha is elected for a period of 5 years. This is the maximum. And we have all seen that in previous years that the executive or the Lok Sabha have not completed it 5 years. It is 5 years maximum. The Lok Sabha can be dissolved if, say, a party which is in majority is in coalition. It has 2-3 parties and one party has stepped back. It has stopped giving the actual government or the majority party the numbers, or you can say avishwas ho jata hai inko. So they just step back. Now the government is in minority, so it falls. And whenever the Prime Minister advises the President to dissolve and hold fresh elections, this Lok Sabha can be dissolved. If you remember, when BJP President or BJP Party Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee was there, so he advised the President to dissolve the Lok Sabha in 4.5 years. After that, because it was Shining India campaign, but unfortunately BJP lost that election. So what does the Parliament do? What are the work or job of Parliament? There are various jobs, work. First is the legislative function. That is, the Parliament enacts legislation for the country. It is a chief law-making body of the country. So not only it makes legislations or law, the actual task of drafting a bill is performed by whom? There is a minister. Now the minister is directing the bureaucrats or Naukarshah to draft a bill. Bill is going to be a law later when it is passed by both the houses. So now the bill is drafted, and this under the supervision of minister, of course, by the bureaucrats. And then the actual task of drafting, when it is done, the timing when the bill will be presented in the Parliament is decided by the cabinet, that is the Council of Ministers and the special minister with the Prime Minister. Members which are not ministers, they are not ministers, but they are also capable, means they can also introduce bills. But even if you, as a member of Parliament, you put a bill, and if you don't have a majority, it's highly unlikely that if you don't have the support of the government, that bill which you have, any MP which is not of the majority government, it is highly unlikely that without the support of the government it is going to be passed. So this is the first task. What is the second task? Second task is the control of executive and holding their accountability. Actually, see, Parliament is having a majority party, that is the ruling party, and then we have the opposition. So that opposition becomes very important. This opposition is controlling this executive. Executive is what? Executive is Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. So they are checking and controlling the executive, Parliament, whole people here, whether they are from any party. Because now they want this the majority party or the government to be not going out of the boundary of what they should do. So even if they try something which is not good for the country or not good for the people, the opposition is there to check and balance. Then the third is the financial function. So government is spending money. There is a khazana, government khazana. So whatever they are spending, first of all, from where the government gets money? It is through taxation. There are indirect taxes, there are direct taxes. So the money is goes to the government bhandar or khazana. Now this money is spent by the government. So whether the government is putting some new tax, whatever it is doing, it has to take the approval of the Lok Sabha. So the government, it is the constitutional duty of the government to put an account of the of the money being it is going to spend, the resources from where it is going to get it, and it is bound, government is bound to show all these in the legislature, to the parliament, and this is done through budget. Normally the Vitt Mantri, the finance minister, he or she presents this budget in the parliament and there is a discussion on this. And this is just to check and balance that there is no misspending or overspending by the government. Then next task is representation. So parliament represent, because parliament is from, the member of parliament is coming from different states, different caste, different religion. They are representing different economic sectors, social sectors. So very different part of the country is being represented here. Then the debating function. What is debating function? If you see the live telecast of the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, you will always see people debating, MPs debating. So that is a forum to debate. Whenever something is coming, government is not doing good work or some bill is being presented, there is a very well stretched debate from both opposition and from the ruling party. So it is possible for the parliament to analyze all the issues which is facing to the nation. So this is how debate will act. Debate will help in making a proper bill and pass it. Then we have constituent function. That means the Constitution of India can be changed. There can be amendments can be done on the Constitution of India, and it should be done with a very clear-cut majority both in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So constitutional amendment power also lies with the parliament. Then the electoral functions. What are the electoral functions? The president, the vice president of India, they are elected by the parliament. Then they have judicial function. If say president is not doing good work, vice president, the judges of the High Court, the judges of the Supreme Court or Chief Justice of India, all these can be, there can be an impeachment. So judicial function is removal of these high authority people. This is the judicial function of the Lok Sabha. These are the functions of the parliament actually, because I will not say only Lok Sabha because Rajya Sabha is also involved. So what are the powers of Rajya Sabha? Let me give you a glimpse of the powers of Lok Sabha and powers of Rajya Sabha. So let us understand using the difference. First of all, the Lok Sabha makes laws on matters included in the union list as well as the concurrent list. It can introduce and enact money and non-money bills. The Rajya Sabha considers and approves non-money bills. That is, all the non-money bills, because the money bill can only be produced in Lok Sabha, not in Rajya Sabha. It can only suggest amendments to money bills. Please understand, the money bill cannot be presented in Rajya Sabha, and when it comes to Rajya Sabha from the Lok Sabha, the Rajya Sabha can only give some amendments or suggestions which the government or the parliament may accept, may not. Lok Sabha approves proposal for taxation, budgets and annual financial statements. It controls the execution or executive by asking questions, supplementary questions, resolution, motion and through no confidence motions. And here also, Rajya Sabha exercises control over executive by asking questions, introducing motions and resolution. There is one more thing. The amendment of constitution is started or it can be presented in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, and the Rajya Sabha approves this constitutional amendment, Samvidhan Sanshodhan. The Lok Sabha approves the proclamation of emergency, Apatkal situation. The Lok Sabha elects the president and vice president, removes judges of Supreme Court and High Court. This also comes with Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha participates in the election of removal of president, vice president, judges of Supreme Court and High Court. It can alone initiate the procedure for removal of vice president. Vice president removal cannot be started at Lok Sabha level. It has to be first presented in the Rajya Sabha only. The Lok Sabha establishes committees and commissions and considers their reports. And Rajya Sabha can give the Union Parliament power to make laws on matters included in the states list also, because the Rajya Sabha is actually representing the states. There are some special powers of Rajya Sabha, because Rajya Sabha is what? Rajya Sabha is actually representing the states, because the Rajya Sabha members are elected by the MLAs. They are here by the MLAs. So their main duty is to protect the powers of the states, right? So if the Union Parliament wishes to remove a matter from the state list to either the Union list or a concurrent list in the interest of the nation, the approval of the Rajya Sabha is very necessary. For example, if there is something in the concurrent list and the state list, now this wants to be put in the Union list. Now they have to take the permission or the approval of the Rajya Sabha, because this state list is pertaining to the Rajya Sabha, that is the state people. But the experience we have seen that the Rajya Sabha members, they are not representing the states, they are actually representing their political parties. This is what we have seen. The Rajya Sabha cannot initiate or reject money bills. Please understand, anything related to the money, spending, buying, whatever, is money bill, and the Rajya Sabha cannot initiate, you cannot put, or the money bill cannot be placed first in Rajya Sabha. They have to be placed in Lok Sabha, and once it is passed by the Lok Sabha, it goes to Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha cannot do anything, it can just give suggestion. Aswikrit nahi kar sakte. They cannot reject, Rajya Sabha cannot reject the money bills, they can only give the suggestion. The Council of Ministers is responsible for Lok Sabha, not Rajya Sabha. Please understand, Council of Ministers, which is the actual executive, is only responsible for Lok Sabha, not Rajya Sabha. The Rajya Sabha is elected by the MLAs. They are not elected by the people like us. So the constitution stopped. That is why there are mostly power which are with the Lok Sabha, not with the Rajya Sabha, because Lok Sabha people are directly electing them, not the Rajya Sabha. And there are other spheres, including passing of the non-money bills, passing of non-money bills, the constitutional amendments, impeaching the Mahabhiyog of President and removing the Vice President. The powers of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, they are equal. Both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha has equal power in these cases. Now, how does the Parliament make laws? So let me show you a flow chart. First of all, there will be a bill, a draft bill, and this bill will be introduced in either house. If it is non-money bill, because money bill can only be presented in the Lok Sabha, not in Rajya Sabha. So if it is a non-money bill, it can be presented in either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Now this bill is sent to a committee. There are committees for different field, different jobs in the Parliament also. So bill is sent to the committee or discussed in the house itself. Now the committee gives report. The committee takes the inputs from people also sometimes. Now when the committee gives report, the house may or may not accept the report. There will be a very detailed discussion on the bill in the house. There will be a debate. The bill is accepted or rejected. The bill may be accepted or rejected. If it is accepted, it is sent to the other house. If it has started from Lok Sabha, it will be sent to Rajya Sabha. If it has started in Rajya Sabha, it will be sent to the Lok Sabha. And the other house approves or give recommendation. Because certain cases, Rajya Sabha can only give a recommendation. They cannot just, approve or reject it. Now, if there is a problem, that is, there is a difference or distinction between the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha outlook, there is a joint session of Parliament is called. Both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha people are there in the joint session. Now the President, if it is done, the bill is approved by both the houses, it is sent to the President. Now President may approve it or it may send it back for the reconsideration. Now whole process will be done again. And if President just signs it or he accepts it, the bill becomes the law. So bill is what? Bill is what which is going to be a law. So bill is the you can say the previous form of a law. So bill is a draft of the proposed law. So there can be different types of bill. So what are the type of bill? It can be a government bill presented by the minister. It can be a private member bill, can be presented by any member of parliament. A bill can be a non-money bill. If anything is there related to money, it will be a money bill. And this money bill can be only presented in the Lok Sabha, not in the Rajya Sabha. And the non-money bill can be ordinary bill, or it can be a constitutional amendment bill. So the non-money bill can be like to convert, to amend, to change the constitution, or it can be just ordinary bill. So when a non-minister proposes a bill, it is called a private member's bill. So this is called a private member's bill because any non-minister has presented it. A bill which is presented by a proper minister in the government is described, or it is called as a government bill. So a political party, how do this bill, how do you know that this bill is going to come? How does this bill comes? Mostly the party which comes in the majority, who forms the government, they might have presented a manifesto to the people of the country. For example, BJP won in 2019. So the manifesto, they have Ram Mandir, they have CAA, that is Citizenship Amendment Act and Bill, you can say CAB. Then they have various other like the NRC. So these were there in manifesto. So when they came into the power, they started all this. So this is how they made the bill, how this bill are being formed. But there are other way also the bill are presented. The government may initiate a bill on pressurizing it from some political party, or it may come from some interest group, some media, some citizen forum. They may also ask the government, they may request or persuade the government to form a particular legislation. That is why the bill has come in the form. So there are various ways why this bill has come to the parliament. These are all the reasons. The preparation of bill itself involves various consideration. You cannot just make a bill. The minister or the bureaucrat does not make a bill just like that. They have to see that how, when this bill is being formulated, this will become a law. Then what are the resources being required? If it becomes a law, what are the resources are to be required to implement this law? And whether the opposition is going to accept it, support it or not. The impact of the law, what is this impact going to be? Because when the CAA came, there was a lot of bloodshed. There was a Delhi riot, and people were protesting all over the country. So what is the electoral prospect of the ruling party? This also has to be seen. So a bill proposed by the government has to be accepted or acceptable to all partners of the coalition, because government, it is possible that the government is having an alliance. For example, the BJP has an alliance called NDA. So most of the Ghatak or the party coalition should agree with this. The draft of any bill is prepared by the concerned ministry. I will give you an example. So there is a ministry. Now for instance, a bill raising the marriageable age from say 18 years to 21 years will be prepared by whom? The law ministry. Law ministry is going to prepare this bill. The Ministry of Women and Child Welfare may be involved in formation of this bill. And under the parliament or within the parliament, the bill may be introduced in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. It can be on any houses. Rajya Sabha. By a member of the house. But often it is seen by a minister which is responsible for the subject introduces the bill. For example, if it is related to some law, so law minister will come forward and he will or she will put the bill in front of the parliament. A money bill can be only introduced in Lok Sabha, please understand. And there will be a large part of the discussion on the bill, and this takes place in the committees. So there are various committees in the parliament, and once this bill goes to the committees, the committee will give some recommendation, and then it is sent to the house, and that is why committee is referred to as the miniature legislatures, Laghu Vidhaika. So this is the second stage in the lawmaking process. In the third stage and final stage, there is voting. The bill is voted upon. If the non-money bill is passed by one house, it is sent to the other house, where it goes through the same procedure. So if there is say Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, they have some disagreement, so there will be, because there is a proposed bill, so there will be a joint session possibly to resolve any issue. But in various instances we have seen, because the majority is the government and the majority is in Lok Sabha, always Lok Sabha wins. If a money bill is there, if it is a money bill, Rajya Sabha can only suggest changes. It cannot reject it. If this money bill is kept for more than 14 days in Rajya Sabha, it is assumed that it is passed. That is, amendment, whatever Rajya Sabha has suggested, it may be accepted by Lok Sabha, it may not be accepted by Lok Sabha. Now, how does the parliament control the executive? So, as we have seen earlier also, that the parliament is the member of parliament in one place, making the law, making the rules, regulation, and in this we have the majority party who is having the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. So this is the actual executive. We call them as a political executive. So other members are also there. How does this whole parliament control this executive? So in a parliamentary democracy, the executive is drawn from the party which is having, or the coalition of party that is having majority in this Lok Sabha. It is not difficult if you see that these people or whosoever is in the government, when they get this power, so they may misuse it, they may exercise their power in a different way, which is not acceptable maybe to the country. So there are many ways in which this whole parliament or the legislature can control this executive. First is, here is a member. Now the member is not belonging to this party, say party A, he belongs to party B. Now he is a member of parliament, and if he says something against them, that is they criticize them or oppose them, no action can be taken against him. No action can be taken against a member of whatever the member says in the legislature. If he stands up and he delivers some speech or say something against or criticism of the executive, nothing can be done against him. That is called the parliamentary privilege of the Vidhayaks and the MPs. So there are various instruments of parliamentary control, and the legislature in parliamentary system ensures that the executive is held accountable at different stages. That is, if they are making policies, or they are implementing some law or policies, and what is the stage, that is the pre-implementation stage, post-implementation stage, all the stages, the executive is under control of the parliament. And what are the ways? Deliberation and discussion, approval or refusal of laws, financial control, no confidence motion. Before I go ahead, let me tell you what happens in a day of Lok Sabha. From 11 to 12, there are question being asked. This is called question hour. So this is to keep the government in check. It represents the people. Here also there is 0 hour. Anything which happens, maybe one day before or one day ago, some thing happened, like some fight occurred or some danga occurred. Now that thing will be discussed here. If the prices has been rising, say of onions, this will be discussed here. Then the lunchtime. Then after that there are the government business and legislative business. Rajya Sabha goes up to 5, Lok Sabha up till 6. So here we make law and pass budget. All this involves discussion. So there are deliberation and discussion. During the law making process, member of legislature get an opportunity to deliberate on the policy direction of the executive and the way in which the policies are implemented. Only putting up the policy is not enough. How this policy is going to be worked out, how it is going to be implemented, how do you get the resources, from where, how you are going to get the money, everything is being discussed here. So we have a 0 here. This is a 0 hour, and before that we have a question hour, and this question hour is held every day during the sessions of parliament. and the ministers have to respond to the questions which are asked by the members. So if a member of parliament asks the minister, he has to respond to this member of parliament. Then in this 0 hour, this is very important. Here the member of parliament, they raise the question which is related to what is going on. That is the present situation. It is representing the people. Then most of the questions aim at eliciting information from the government on issues of public interest, like why the price is been rising, why is the availability, what is the availability of food grains, what if some weaker section is there, some atrocities on the weaker section, some atrocity. Then these all questions like black marketing, all these questions are raised during this period of time. And the discussion of while in question hour, if you see the live telecast of Lok Sabha TV and Rajya Sabha TV, you will see various MPs, they are raising voices, they are heated conversation, they even walk out, they go up to the well where this is the well and where the speaker is sitting. So the members come here and even they can make walk out, they can go out of the parliament. So all these are just because they want to hold the executive responsible for everything. If something is not going on well, and if they understand that it is not in the favor of the country, these members of parliament will raise their voice, their question, and show their opposition. Then we have approval and ratification of laws. So the parliamentary control is also exercised through the power of ratification. Ratification means disapproval. A bill can only become a law when it has the approval of the parliament, otherwise not. If the government has majority in Lok Sabha but not in Rajya Sabha, it sometimes, this is the scenario. If you talk about 2019, if you talk about 2014 BJP has majority in Lok Sabha but not in Rajya Sabha. But in 2019, when they won the election, they have Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha, they have majority in both the houses. But sometimes if the government has majority in Lok Sabha but not in Rajya Sabha, then whenever the bill is being placed or it has to be passed, the government has to change. They have to make substantial concessions because they want the approval of both the houses. Then the financial control. Financial control is done through budget. So it is the responsibility of the finance minister to present the budget in front of whole parliament, and now it will be discussed. People will give their their ideas, their suggestions on this. This is just to take care that how the government is getting the money through taxation and how they are spending the money. That is, the full control of money is in the hand of whom? Parliament. That is, the legislature controls the policies of the government, and this financial control is, you can say about any way, like the CAG and public account committees. There are different committees which take care of all these things. Then we have no confidence motion. No confidence motion is a very powerful tool. After 1989, several governments, they were forced to resign, step down due to lack of confidence in the house. Each of this government lost the confidence of the Lok Sabha because they failed to retain the support of their coalition partner. For example, if a government is formed and there are certain partners here, now the government has come, or this majority party has formed some minimum common program, and this government, when they are in power, this majority party, they are not fulfilling what these people have said or this coalition partner wants. They are not fulfilling their needs or for what they have made the coalition. So they will step out. When they will step out, this coalition government will not stand, because now they are not in majority. That is how the no confidence motion becomes so important. The House of Parliament, what we have seen, that there is absence of quorum. Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, there is no unanimity. That means no quorum is there. And people, mostly the opposition party, they boycott the sessions. Most of the members, they are not present even in the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha session. So the house for which it is being made, we see that the boycott of session by the member of opposition which deprive the House the power to control the executive through discussion. So these are the things which need to be taken care, and this is taken care. These are the incident, very seldom, not very frequent incidents, just seldom these situations arises. So what do the parliamentary committee do? Or what are the committees in parliament? So if you have a school or a college, you will always have some or the other party, or you can say some or the other committee. Now the committee is doing a lot of work in parliament. For example, we have parliamentary committee. In the parliamentary committee, we have some financial committee. Some are the standing committee. This will always be there. Standing committee will always be there. And there will be some bill coming or some important agenda is coming. So there will be ad hoc committee for that particular case. And then for taking care of the parliament, there are administrative committee. So we have different committees, and these committees are very important. Since the parliament meets only for certain duration, like the monsoon session, like the winter session, so this parliament is not running every time. So it has very limited time. And the making of law, if you want to make a law through a bill, then this bill or this law has to be read very carefully. In-depth study should be there, and attention and time is required. There are other functions also, like what is the demand of grants made by various ministries, looking into expenditure incurred by different departments of the government, also investigation of the corruptions. Corruption can be there. So parliamentary committees perform such functions from 1983. This has come 1983. There are parliamentary standing committees. What are these parliamentary standing committees? Those committees, when the parliament comes under, it means it starts or it is being made from that time till the end of the session, end of the parliament, that is dissolution of the parliament, there will be a standing committee of few members that will always be there, right? So there, if some corruption is there, there will be joint parliamentary committee. The Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha member both will be there. There will be joint parliamentary committee. There will be a standing committee, and as I said, for special situation, there will be ad hoc committee. And India has developed a system of parliamentary standing committees also. This is what we have seen. And if you see, there are over 20 such departmentally related committees, and this has increased. These standing committees, those committees which are there for all the time, and they work to supervise various departments, like their budget, like their expenditure and bills, everything related to that department. And apart from standing committee, as there are joint parliamentary committee, and this it will have both the houses members. If there is some particular bill, like this joint committee will discuss, and especially if there are some irregularities, some financial irregularities, then the members are selected from both the houses and a joint parliamentary committee will be formed. The parliamentary committee, whatever the committees suggest, it is seldom that the government will disapprove it. It will always accept it. It's really seen that the suggestion of the committee are being disapproved. It is seldom being seen. So these are different parliamentary committees, as I just showed you. So how does this parliament regulate itself? Now parliament also needs to regulate itself, because if there is a parliament, see, if you are a house, you are there, your brother is there, your sister is there. If your mother is not there, your father is not there, you are going to quarrel. You may be, because you're a kid, you may have discussion on certain aspect. So there should be a presiding officer, there should be a person like your father and mother who take care of everything and be a final decision maker. So the presiding officer of the legislature is the final authority of any matter regulating the business of the legislature, and he is called the speaker, Sabhapati. So even if you go to the Vidhan Sabha, you will get a speaker. Even in the parliament, in the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, we have speakers, and these are the presiding officers. So an amendment to the constitution was made. I'll tell you about Dal Badal. What happens? See, that is called anti-defection law. I'll just talk about that. Now, there is a person who went to the election. He became an MP or MLA from Congress ticket. Now he sees in his state BJP government is going to be formed. Now he's from Congress. He will do what? He will just change his party. He'll say, I am no longer in Congress, I am going in BJP. Just because he wanted some good post, minister post, or maybe some allurement of money, whatever be the case. He has changed his dal. That is called dal badal. Dal badal. So he is changing his party, and when he is changing his party, there has to be some rule. That is called anti-defection law. So in 52nd amendment, an amendment of the constitution was made, and this is called as 52nd Amendment Act in 1985, and this is called the anti-defection law, and it was also modified in 91st Amendment. So the presiding officer of the house is the authority who takes decision that whether the person is actually he has done defection or not, whether he has done unlawful defection or not. So if a member remains absent in the house when asked by the party, so say a party has said that you have to be present in some voting. Now this person belonging to a party, he doesn't turn up, or whenever he turns up, this is party 1, this is party 2, he votes in the favor of party 2. That is, whatever party 2 has decided, he votes in that favor. So he is doing what? This is also comes under defection. It is deemed to be defection. Let me tell you again. If a member remains absent in the house when the party he belongs to, a party leadership says him to come present and vote against this and vote in their favor, he doesn't do that. He doesn't come. Or if he comes and he vote against the will of the party, that is called the cross voting. So this is called as defection. So now legislature is the most representative of all the organs of the government. In our parliamentary democracy or anywhere in the parliamentary democracy, the legislature as a body representing the wishes of the people, because we have elected them, we elect the MPs, we elect the Vidhayaks or MLAs. So this body is representing the wishes, aspirations, requirement of the people. So that is why it occupies the highest position of power and responsibility in the country. So this is all about this topic. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.